Hi everyone, this is Heather Lottanen from the Flourish.Academy, where our goal is to empower, educate, and elevate you to create a life that you love through the art and business of photography. In this video, we are going to deconstruct layer masks, but first, make sure you check out all of the free resources available on our website. The link is below. Layer masks are very critical to your Photoshop workflow because they can allow you to add adjustments to certain areas of the photograph quickly and easily. Let me rephrase. It allows you to add or remove those adjustments. And I want to talk about layer mask behavior today. I'm going to begin by adding a black and white adjustment layer via the adjustment panel. Now, the nice thing about the adjustment layers is that they automatically come with a layer mask, which is depicted by this white square. I'm going to close these properties because I don't need them. But when working with layer masks, it's important to remember that you will predominantly be using your brush tool, which is accessible via B on the keyboard. Now, right now, I have a brush that is white, and I can see that in my color swatches on the left-hand side of the screen. If I click and drag or paint with a white brush on a white layer mask, nothing is going to happen. But if I press X on my keyboard to flip those swatches, now I have a black brush. When I brush with a black brush on a white layer mask, it will conceal or hide the adjustments that I dialed in via that layer mask. So one quick way to remember this is when working with layer masks, white reveals and black conceals. Think of it like a mask. If you have a mask on that's black, you would not be able to see what was inside of that mask. So in this case, what's inside of the mask is the adjustment layer. And if I hold down Alt or Option on my keyboard and click the layer mask, this is what we see. Wherever I have painted with black, we have hid the instructions, and wherever I have left white, we have revealed them. Now, the nice thing about this is if I press X on my keyboard again, and I start to paint with a white brush, I can reveal those instructions. And what I'm revealing is the fact that I dialed in a black and white adjustment layer. This is very powerful. I use layer masks every day in a multitude of different ways, but I want to talk to you now about brush behavior on layer masks. In order to make this brush bigger, you would press your right bracket key. I'm going to make sure that I have a black brush by pressing X again. So there's a nice big brush. If I wanted to make the brush smaller, I would press my left bracket key. Now you'll notice that when I brushed with that big black brush, it had a nice soft edge to it. There's a nice feather transition between the color and the black and white. If you hold down Shift and press your right bracket key several times, you will create a very hard edge to that brush, as you can see here. If you hold down Shift and press your left bracket key several times, you will get a very soft edge brush. And it really depends on how you're using this as to which type of brush you will use. So if white reveals and black conceals on a layer mask, then any shade of gray in between will do the same thing. As a result, if you choose to drop the opacity, say to 50% in your tool options bar and brush with black, you'll notice that it's a much more subtle adjustment, and you can continue to brush over it to build it up to 100%. And again, let's take a look by holding down Alt or Option and clicking on the mask, what that mask looks like. So you can see these different brush strokes and what they look like and their different behaviors. And this can be very useful. Maybe you're adding light to an image, maybe you're removing light, maybe you're changing color, but you can do it in varying degrees. I think the easiest way to learn layer masks is to take an image and add a black and white adjustment layer and then just play with the brushes. Set it to white, set it to black, just kind of experiment so that you get a feel for how it works. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making is they'll start to brush and they'll say, Heather, it's not working. Well, are you painting with a white brush on a white mask or a black brush on a black mask? Well, then nothing's going to happen. Another troubleshooting tip is to check your tool options bar. Occasionally, I have accidentally brought the opacity of the brush down really low, and then it looks like nothing is happening. We'll just make sure that that is set to the mode of normal and the opacity and flow of 100%. Let's use a different image and apply this using a real life scenario. Let's say we just wanted to add some light to her face. We could add a curves adjustment layer, click and drag up into the left on the curve to add light, but you'll notice what's happening is it's adding light to the entire image. And that's because our layer mask is currently white, which means it is revealing or showing all of that adjustment. Now, I actually want to set that layer mask to black to hide this on the entire image. So I'm going to press Command or Control I on the keyboard in order to invert that mask. Now, because the mask is black, it looks like nothing has changed to the image. So I'm going to press B in order to grab my brush tool, make sure that I have it. And I need to ensure that I have a white brush. This time I have a black one. So let's press X to flip those swatches. Make this brush a little bit bigger with the right bracket key, and then just brush over her face. And what you can see has happened is I just revealed those instructions exactly where I wanted that adjustment to go. Now, the beauty of this is that it's interactive and fully adjustable. So I can come into the curves dialog box and say, oh, I needed some more light on her face, or I needed less light on her face. And that's really powerful. I encourage you to spend the time learning adjustment layers with layer masks, as they are very critical to a proper Photoshop workflow. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next video.